in Chief, 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Friday. A lot to get into. The high school football playoffs kick off tonight, and we'll preview quite a few of those matchups. In fact, I'm heading to Wayne tonight. I can't wait to watch the Wayne-Centerville rematch. Looking forward to watching Springfield in the coming weeks, as well as Trotwood. So I can't believe that we're officially at the point where we're talking playoffs. The playoffs are officially kicking off here, the OHSAA state playoffs as far as football is concerned. So we're super pumped about that. This is a year where everybody got in. This is a season where everybody got in. And, it's unfortunate because, this is happening because of, shortening the season, 6-week regular season. We're going to start the playoffs earlier so that we can crown a state champion and keep it on the same timeline as opposed to having to push things back at the end, because that's where it was really going to become interesting. Right now you have high school basketball. That's going to be the big question mark coming up as far as that's concerned. But you have volleyball. Everything else is rolling right now for high school. There are some hiccups. I know Fairborn, unfortunately, ran into a situation where a couple players tested positive. So we'll have an update on that as far as their status and what the playoffs are going to hold and what happens when this isn't going to be the only time that something like this happens. So being prepared for that, not just from a player and coach and school standpoint, but from a fan and parent expectation as well. We got a lot to get into today. We're going to talk plenty of NFL, of course. We spent a lot of time on that this week. We heard from James Rapine. He covers the Cincinnati Bengals for Sports Illustrated yesterday. ESPN's Jake Trotter. He's going to join us coming up at 3:30. He covers the Cleveland Browns for ESPN. So we got James Rapine bringing us the Bengals perspective yesterday. We'll also get the Browns perspective today from Jake Trotter, who covers the Browns for ESPN. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him, previewing this week's matchup. Here's my biggest concern for Cleveland. It's not, I couldn't care less about the opponent right now. I have bought into the Browns hype early since they drafted Baker. I thought that that's when things were really going to take off, and they did initially, and then they, of course, hit a roadblock last year. But you could tell, I've been saying all along, last year the biggest issue was not Baker. Last year the biggest issue was not OBJ. Last year the biggest issue was not the team being overrated. Last year the team was properly rated. The problem with the Cleveland Browns last year was none other than head coach Freddie Kitchens, or at least head coach at the time. I've been waving the flag that it was the coach. It was a coaching problem in 2019 for your Cleveland Browns. And right now, Kevin Stefanski is proving that I was correct. Coaching was the problem for the Cleveland Browns in 2019. Baker, and I will say this, maybe Baker is not as explosive I thought he is as explosive as I thought he was going to be. Maybe Baker is not as good as I thought he was going to be. Maybe he's only going to get better. I don't know. But my biggest concern is that when you are in offense, and I keep hearing people say this all the time, well, when you have a run game like the Browns do, you don't need to throw it. But I need to ask you guys this, because if Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, would you only let Patrick Mahomes throw the ball 20 to 23 times and say, well, when you have a run game like we do, you don't even need to throw the ball? I don't think that would be the case. I still think you would get a heavy dose of the run. But I also think you would open up the offense and let Patrick Mahomes throw. My biggest concern is that they are hiding Baker Mayfield so much because maybe he's not as good as they thought. Maybe he's not as good as I thought. But I keep hearing people try to defend the situation and say, well, Baker Mayfield, they don't need to let him throw. Well, what do you mean you don't need to let him throw? Because what's going to happen is when Cleveland's down in a game, like let's say this week against the Colts, that they're down in a game. Now, they were down against Washington by 3. It was like 20-17. That doesn't really count. And that was early in the second half. And there really wasn't a lot of pressure on Baker to lead a comeback. You're down 3 early second half. Who cares, right? I'm talking, what if you're down 10 with 6 minutes to go? Do you trust the arm of Baker Mayfield? Because if you're down 10 with 6 minutes to go, you're not just going to keep handing it off to Chubb or Kareem Hunt or whoever's in the backfield, right? You're going to have to rely, and that's the big question mark I have. That's the big question I have as far as Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns offense is concerned, is who is he? What can he do? because I have seen a major drop back since his rookie season when he did air it out. He was a pro style quarterback. He was a guy that can sling it with the best of them. He would move the offense. He would lead the offense up and down the field. So is that guy still there? Or because he threw so many interceptions last year, is he just gun shy as far as that's concerned? 457-9464. I want to hear from Browns fans. We're going to get into the Bengals side of the conversation coming up. They have the Ravens this weekend. But I'm really curious, Browns fans. I feel good about the 3-1 start. I believe that they're going to be 4-1 after Sunday. But my biggest concern is I just don't know how to feel about this team. I feel good that they've made that step in the right direction. I feel good that they're winning football games now. What I don't feel good about is the fact that, yes, they are a running team. But this was my complaint. I'm being consistent here. You could at least give me that, right, folks? Like, I'm going to keep it consistent here because my biggest knock on the Tennessee Titans is that's a team that has a really good defense, a year ago at least, a really good defense, a really good run game, and I don't respect the quarterback. I don't respect the passing game. And I always felt that no matter how good the defense was, no matter how good the run game is, eventually you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to have to rely on the quarterback, and that's not who the Titans are. And that's always going to be their holdup. That's going to be what keeps them from ever achieving what they're capable of, at least with last year's defense in the run game that they have at the moment. Cleveland's in a different situation. You don't have a great defense. I think we are falling for the number game of, oh man, they lead the league in takeaways and they're very scrappy, and that's fine, but they're getting decimated between the 20s. Teams move the ball at ease. Luckily, the Colts are an offense that, they're led by a veteran quarterback in Phillip Rivers, who I believe is going to take advantage of some of the deficiencies of the Cleveland defense. But I don't look at the Colts offense and say, oh man, they're just going to destroy Cleveland's defense. But I believe Cleveland's going to give the Colts opportunities that normally is going to make the game a little bit easier for the offense for the Colts as far as that's concerned. But as far as the offense is concerned for Cleveland, they're going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball some more. You look at Kareem Hunt. You look at this last week, Nick Chubb leaves the game, Kareem Hunt takes over, they don't miss a beat. And it's not like it was Kareem Hunt the entire time. They went to their third string running back. All right, they let a lot of guys carry the ball. They mixed up the playbook a little bit. They got OBJ involved in a couple sweep plays and a couple reverse plays, a couple trick plays, which, by the way, everyone's like, oh man, I really love Kevin Stefanski's aggressive play calling style. This is why I always laugh at these things. Freddie Kitchens had that same aggressive play style, right? Freddie Kitchens was all about he was all about the trick play. He was aggressive too, right? Like that if we're going to say that Kevin Stefanski's aggressive, we can't sit there and say that, well, Freddie Kitchens wasn't aggressive. Freddie Kitchens was aggressive. The problem is the team didn't execute. You are only labeled aggressive when you convert. You are only labeled aggressive whenever the chances that you take actually pan out. When you are Freddie Kitchens and you take those same chances that Kevin Stefanski does and they don't work out, well, then you have a lot of egg on your face as far as that's concerned. So the Browns are going to continue to be aggressive. They're going to continue to take advantage of the athletes that they have on the outside. OBJ is very versatile. He's not just going to be a guy that's going to make a play through the air with his hands. He's going to be able to make a lot of plays with his legs, especially in the open field, and that's what we saw last week against Dallas. But we'll open up the phone lines at 457-9464. We're live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. You can also watch and follow along on Twitter at 1410Kinner, at 1410Kinner, KINNER. And of course, you can jump in on the conversation. But as I said before, if you have to work so hard to limit the amount of times Baker drops back to pass, I don't know if that's your quarterback. I love Baker. I've been a Baker defender for years now. But my biggest concern is that the Cleveland Browns, they're going to enjoy a couple of these wins this year. You're going to feel good about your team, but there's going to be a certain point where you look at this offense and say, man, but there could be more there. And last year I said there could have been more there to the offense if they had a different head coach. Well, now they have a different head coach. And now we're seeing the offense go to that next level. But now I'm also seeing more roadblocks. I'm seeing more situations that are kind of preventing this offense from taking off to that next level. So that's why I'm concerned as far as that is concerned. Baker Mayfield, if you have to try that hard to force him to manage a game, I feel like there's nothing there as far as the pass game, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope in the coming weeks that they open it up a little bit more, and not just that they open it up a little more, but I hope that he's capable of doing it. Because if they don't open it up, that means he can't. And again, I keep getting people that'll message in and say, well, Justin, you know what? Here's the deal. If you have to run when you run When you have a run game like the Cleveland Browns, you don't need to pass, but you do need to pass. What's going to happen when you're down late in the game? And one more time, I'm going to repeat this. If the Cleveland Browns had Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, do you think that they would run this style of offense? They would run the ball a lot, but I promise you they would open up the offense a little bit more. So don't try to convince me that Baker's this great passer and that they're only just not taking advantage of his arm because, well, they have such a great run game. When you have a great run game, fine, run. But when you have a great passing game, that's the difference between narrowly beating teams and blowing teams out. The Browns aren't a very well-balanced offense. They are a very good running team. Average at best is through the air. They just haven't been forced to rely on their passing game. What happens if you're down late in the game? You're down 7, you're down 10 in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes to go. Then what? Because you can't just continue to hand it off and run the ball. You're going to have to pass. You have to make plays through the air. So we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned. Let's go to the phone, 457-9464. We got Jerry. Jerry, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Look, man, I guess you're going to get mad at me. I don't understand what the problem is. Most teams in this league, other than a handful, do not have a quarterback that you want to be resting your game plan on. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and a handful of others. The rest of us, look, if you got a run game like Cleveland, you control the clock, you keep your suspect defense off the field, and you win a lot of games. San Francisco got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G at quarterback. Why? Because they could run the ball as well or better than anybody else. Don't make Baker look. Slimmer and I both told you when they drafted Baker he was overhyped. He's not accurate with the ball. He's too short.
He's actually very accurate with the ball. Throws. He's actually very accurate with the ball.
What's his completion percentage? Is it even 60%?
His completion. If you just watch the games, the throws he makes, he's very accurate on those. I'm talking about the pass attempts and the aggressiveness in the play calling.
Very accurately, Justin. He just can't. It's not who he is. Look. You know what he is? He's Derek Carr. He's a game manager. He can throw between the hashes. If you try to put it on him,
Derek Carr threw for 4,000 yards last year. Derek Carr threw for 20-plus touchdowns last year. I'm fine if he's Derek Carr. He's rubble. They're managed.
And we ended up 7-9. My only point is, Justin, you guys have a world-class run game. That's a strength of your team.
And I'm not saying to go away from the run game, but they're also limiting what they could do with the athletes. What's the point of having OBJ if you're only going to pass the ball 20 times a game?
That's a good question. Maybe you should explore what to do with OBJ down the road. But I'm just saying right now, the formula for your team to win is to run the ball 35, 40 times, Baker throw the ball 20 to 25 times where he can't turn the ball over, and win that way. You can win. You can get to the playoffs that way. There's nothing wrong with that. And, in the next 2 weeks, you've got Indy and Pittsburgh, two of the best defenses so far this year, who are very adept at taking the ball away. You do not want to put the game in Baker Mayfield's hands. He's not that guy.
But Jerry, that's more than fine for you to say. But you are talking as if the Browns are going to be in control of every game. You just talked about it. The Colts have the 4th best rush defense in the league. So what happens if the Colts take away the rush from the Browns this weekend? Then what do? Do you just keep running into a wall? You're going to adapt and try to let Baker carry. Is Baker capable of carrying the Browns when the run game is taken away? That's where my concern comes into play. But we don't know, because in year one, yes. In year one, yes.
I think you're going to find out.
In year one, yes, we saw that. He was a gunslinger. He was a guy that could move the ball up and down the field. He didn't turn the ball over a lot his rookie season. So that's why I'm like, yes, there's something in there that he's capable of doing it. But will they allow it? Will they allow him to do it? And that's going to be the big thing moving forward. I'm with you, Jerry. I'm not saying that they should not run the ball. They need to run. But at the same time, they are overemphasizing less is more with Baker. Well, again, if less is more with your quarterback, even if you had Patrick Mahomes on this Browns team, I promise you're not running the ball as much as what they are. So I'm worrying that he's not the guy then. He's not the guy.
And he might not be, but you can't. I think it's a little unfair to compare him to, say, Mahomes or Rodgers.
I'm not. I'm saying, but people are trying to say that if you have this run game, you don't need to pass. Well, again, if they had a legit quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, would you still be saying the same thing?
Well, to win it all, I'll say this. I'll make this statement. To get to the Super Bowl and win it all, your quarterback has to be able to bail your team out when the other stuff isn't working. But no one really thinks that this team's going to win it all this year. I mean, let's be honest. Let's just be honest. They're not. Now, you should make the playoffs, and we're going to find out a lot about your team here in the next 2 weeks because they got Indy and Pittsburgh back-to-back.
Yeah.
And those are two legitimate teams. You guys haven't beaten a legitimate team yet, let's just be honest. But they're wins. Don't get me wrong. They're wins. But that you haven't beat a legitimate team yet. You're about to play two legitimate teams. Your one saving grace is you're playing a team this weekend that is the same as you. Phillip Rivers is no longer a quarterback that can win games on his arm. He throws picks. He's not the quarterback he used to be. Indy runs the ball to control the clock. So you're going to be playing a team that is very much like you guys are. But if you have to put it on Baker to win the game, you guys aren't going to win that game. But
we don't know that. We don't know.
Games.
That's what I'm questioning. Does he have it in it? We don't know that yet. We've yet to see him in that situation. You can't tell me that he's not.
You'll find that out.
Well, you'll find that out too. If I'm going to find it out, you're going to find it out. We will find out together. So you can't definitively say, "Oh, you can't do it." Then
I think I can definitively say it, but we'll see.
Well, then that doesn't make sense. You're contradicting yourself. You're telling me you're going to find out, but yet you're telling me no, because for sure you know. You don't.
You haven't figured it out yet.
And you have.
Has, but you haven't. It's all good. It's no problem, man. I'm
sitting in a chair daily from 3 to 6 in Dayton. What am I going to do? Am I at practice every day?
I'm just saying it's pretty evident when you watch the games and you see some of the throws he misses by a mile. Dude, it's okay. He's good enough to win you games.
Okay, and I'm saying but that's not good enough. You drafted him number 1 overall. He has to be better. He has to be better. Let's talk about your team. How's your team doing? 2-2.
Right. And and by the way,
and they've beat nobody either.
The Saints.
The Saints are nobody right now. That ain't without Michael Thomas. You see how bad the Saints were to start the season. They're going to get better as they get healthier. But you didn't beat the Saints.
We lost on the road to New England with Cam on a 1 o'clock start on a short week.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of excuses. If I ever run out of toilet paper, I'll make sure to replay this soundbite right here. Holy smokes.
It is what it is, Justin.
You lost to the Patriots without Tom Brady, all right? And you lose to the Bills, all right? I mean, you beat the Panthers. Ooh, wow.
The Patriots had Cam Newton.
And
how was he playing before he got COVID?
Okay, but your team, I mean, what year is this for Gruden? How long has Carr been around? I mean, my goodness, this Raiders team, they're ever going to figure it out?
Than the Browns last year?
It's the Browns.
And are we going to be?
That's like saying, "Oh, I'm taller than you, Kenner. I'm 5'5". Good for you."
We're going to play you guys in 4 weeks, there, buddy. We'll see what's happened. We'll see what's up then, won't we?
Absolutely. I have all the faith in the world that the Browns will beat your Raiders.
I still got a bet out there with you on that game if you want to take it.
We made a bet on the game.
No, I'm offering you a bet. You won't take it.
No, I don't do bets. I don't do bets.
See. And so you won't put your money where your mouth is.
I don't have money. I work in radio.
See, I'm just telling you, you guys are good.
I'm just telling you, call in, you talk smack about the Browns, you try to talk about how they haven't beat anybody, and the somebodies that your team's played, you haven't beat them. But let's beat up on the Browns.
I was actually crediting your team with being good enough to win games because of your run game.
Nah, but you had that little tone. You had that tone like, they're good enough to beat games. Now they haven't played it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm acknowledging the facts. I've actually said all week that they haven't played anybody. I've said that we're going to find out who the Browns are for real. I think they beat the Colts. We'll find out who they are against the Steelers. But you know what guys like Jerry are going to do when they beat the Steelers is they'll call in and say, yeah, well, the Steelers are 3-1, but all the teams that they've beat haven't won a game this year. So the Steelers aren't even really that good. I know this game. I invented the game.
No, I'll tell you right now, Pittsburgh and Indy are two of the best defenses in the league. If you can win one of these.
How do we know? And first of all, you want to look at who the Colts played, by the way. You want to talk about the Colts? The Colts defense, woofa. We're giving them way too much credit. They played the worst offenses in the National Football League. All right. By the way, they haven't even played your Jaguars, or they haven't even played your Raiders. But they played the Jaguars. ugh, offensively. Vikings, ugh, offensively. Jets, offensively. Bears, offensively. Let's talk about that Jets defense. Or the Colts defense, I mean. Yeah.
I'm just simply saying, I was saying that your team has played well and your running game's been great. Don't knock it. That's what I'm
not knocking you. When did I say the run game was bad?
You're the one who deflected by bringing my team into this situation.
You're right.
And I pointed out to you, we'll find out between those two teams in about 4 weeks.
We don't need to find out. I thought you said, hey, Baker's no good. You just said it. You knew it all along.
He isn't. He can't win you games on his arm. Carr can't win games on his arm. What's the point? I said that too.
Jerry,
same thing.
You have a great weekend. The Browns will be 4-1 come Monday.
I hope you're right.
I am right. I'm always right.
We'll see.
Have a good weekend. Adios. 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Matt Sturgeon, he messages in saying, Justin, over under on Burrow being sacked 5 times on Sunday. I'm going to take the over on that. I predicted 6 times yesterday, so I'm going to take the over on that. I think Burrow gets hit hard. He gets hit a lot. I mean, everyone jumped for joy after they, protected him against the Jaguars, who has one of the worst pass rushes in football. That's going to be vastly different against the Ravens coming up. We talked about that with James Rapine yesterday. We'll have some of that interview coming up for you here around the corner. We're going to preview the Browns and the Colts matchup. And Jerry, I always appreciate the call, man. Thank you. I was just like poking fun at your Raiders. That's all. I have to dish it out. I have to give it back a little bit. David Kendrick, he wrote a book. He says, the Browns are trending upwards. They are improving. We don't really know the answer to your question about Baker until he proves it. I'm throwing out the week 1 game against the Rats, just like I threw out week 1 for all the teams. Real test is this weekend against the Colts and their number 1 defense, and then on to the Steelers. We will know much more in 2 weeks. I'm a Browns fan. I can't answer that question. Yeah, and the question he's alluding to is earlier is like, who is Baker Mayfield right now? Is he Baker Mayfield from the rookie season where he was an aired out type of guy? He can lead you up and down the field through the air. Or is he this Baker Mayfield where, and I don't count last year. I told you last year was that was coaching, and you're seeing the difference in when coaching, what putting a good coach in place does. Look at the Browns. It's a night and day difference from last year to this year, and it's pretty much the same roster as far as that's concerned. So, I mean, they did add some pieces up front to the offensive line, which, by the way, because anyone with common sense that runs an organization, hell, if the Browns could figure it out that you need an offensive line, I wonder why other organizations can't figure that out. But no, that was on coaching last year. It was Baker more of the rookie season, the rookie year Baker, where he, set the record for most touchdowns thrown in a rookie season, broke Peyton Manning's record? Or is he this guy that's being used like Ryan Tannehill, where he can't pass the ball, we're just going to hand it off and rely on the defense? The problem with that method is the Browns don't have a good defense. That's the problem. Sure, they lead the league in takeaways, and they've done a pretty good job of being scrappy, but man, they get beat up between the 20s. They're going to have to rely on their defense getting healthy before we truly know who they are. Can Denzel Ward stay on the field? Can their secondary continue to get healthier each week? Linebackers, that was questionable when they were healthy. So that's going to be the big question mark for them as far as that's concerned. Kendrick Stefanski overhauled the offense after week 1. He said that was really the first time we saw the entire team live. We changed things up after week 1. That's a quote from Kevin Stefanski. So we'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, we'll be joined, of course, by ESPN Browns writer Jake Trotter. We'll preview this matchup with the Colts coming up. Plus, who's healthy, who's playing, who's questionable, who's out. Jake Trotter is going to have the answers for all of that when we come back. One more time, back to the Facebook feed. Don Roberts said, Baker will be fine. He is not going to light the NFL on fire, but he will play a long career for the Browns. We shall see. He hasn't turned the ball over in a few weeks. He's shown a lot more discipline than in years past. We'll see if the Browns can keep it up. All right, ESPN's Jake Trotter, Browns writer, joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mainly clear with a high near 84. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low around 62. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
With so many new pet owners, Kezia's Grooming can't keep up.
Kezia's Grooming. Sorry, we'll book solid through the weekend. I can give you a call back, though, if something opens up.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Cleveland State women's basketball coach Chris Kilsmeyer, COVID survivor.
I was fatigued, just like every other basketball coach in March, but didn't think about getting sick. I woke up one night with the worst pains and chills I'd ever experienced. I tested positive for coronavirus and immediately self-quarantined. I got worse and worse and checked into the hospital. Multiple times I said, I don't want to die.
Game or get it to go. All carry-out beers are 25% off every day at Milano's Pizza, Subs, and Taps.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, we've teamed up with AAA to save you 20% online or in-store. That's why they call us the Savings Dream Team. Okay, we're the only ones calling us that. But it's true. Your AAA membership can save you 20% at Napa. So we're basically superheroes with the most specific power ever, saving you 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
20% off regular retail prices with valid AAA membership card. Offer ends 10/31/20.
If I learned one thing from this great game of baseball, it's that she'll humble you. You think you've got it figured out, you check the standings, and you're in last place again. I'm Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM, and I can put my team in position to win every single time, but I can't play the games, people. At least Progressive's Name Your Price tool has options based on my budget. It never lets me down, unlike my pitching staff. Amateurs!
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association invites you to the Fall Parade of Homes, Saturday and Sunday, October 17th and 18th, from noon to 4 p.m. each day, presented by Minster Bank. This free event will feature 10 beautifully designed homes, all with their own unique features and in some of the most desirable areas of the northern Miami Valley. Visit with the builders and discuss your future home building plans or simply dream a while. Find a complete list of all the homes on the tour and directions to each house online at westernohiohba.com. We will see you there.
Cordell Transportation is hiring Class A CDL drivers 23 and over, less than 6 points on their license, for no-touch freight home daily lanes, outstanding new equipment. Earn up to $270 per day, $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, and paid life insurance. Apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Bromley's for Men would physically shave your face for you if we could. Since we can't, we made our 7-blade razor and Get a Grip handle the simple choice for the smoothest shave. Bromley's for Men in the shaving aisle at Kroger.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Don't let your dental benefits go to waste. Most insurance benefits roll over in January, and what you don't use, you lose. Now is the time to make an appointment to maximize your insurance. Give Champagne Dental Group in Urbana a call at 937-653-8650 to get scheduled today, or visit online at champagnedentalgroup.org.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration.
You really
turning in 0.3 miles and begin a deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies.
Before your next flooring job, make Lowe's your first stop. See the latest styles in our new flooring showroom. We carry more tile, more vinyl, more laminate and hardwood than ever before. Whatever you need, we have the job lot quantities you expect at bulk pricing to save you money. Shop in store or online at lowesforpros.com. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Our pro team can help you get the job done right and on time. It's just one more reason why Lowe's is the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Hey, you. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Touchdown! Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Good luck. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show live here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We just heard from James Rapine, covers the Cincinnati Bengals for Sports Illustrated. We had the latest with that. Again, Lamar Jackson going to be ready to go come Sunday, so we'll talk more about your Bengals coming up around the corner. Now let's shift gears and take a look at what's going on in Cleveland with the Cleveland Browns. ESPN's Browns reporter Jake Trotter joining us now. Jake, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you taking time. Now, it's interesting right now. I know for Browns fans, it's an interesting time, but Browns media has to be an interesting time as well. There's not many opportunities in Browns history where you get to talk and report on a team that's winning and has an above 500 record, and things seem to be going in the right direction. What's the mood right now internally for the Cleveland Browns after this good 3-1 start?
Yeah, the Browns have a chance to go 4-1 for the first time since before the relocation to Baltimore. It was 1994. Bill Belichick was the head coach. So that tells you how long it's been since the team was in this position. And I mean, Cleveland is really excited about, what they've seen so far. The team seems to be having a lot of fun, locked in and focused as well. So it's been very encouraging, and there's reason to believe, a lot of it is sustainable, just given the talent they have and especially how well the offense has played so far.
Kevin Stefanski, the grip he has on this team right now, he seems to be pushing all the right buttons, or at least enough of the right buttons to actually give this team a much different look than a year ago. How impressed have you been with the job that he has done, and not just the right buttons that he's pushed as far as the X's and O's, but he's really seemed to have mellowed out and really getting his players to buy in, like OBJ and Baker and a lot of the bigger personalities on this roster. When you have those type of guys buying into what you're doing, you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, and I think winning gives you credibility. And, the more that they win, the more belief he's going to get out of his players. And, they clearly have an identity offensively with him being the play caller. So, they're given effort. They haven't had any crazy headlines off the field, which was rampant last year's team. So it's all been very positive. I mean, I think if you're looking at, who's done the best job as a head coach through the first month of the season, I mean, he's got to be in every conversation. So it's been really impressive, especially, considering they had, the virtual off season. They didn't have the extra practice time. They had to shorten training camp, to implement everything. So even with those obstacles, they've really been able to hit the ground running, which I think, goes back to the job he's done.
Browns have dominated on the ground. We know how impressive the run game has been. In fact, they lose Nick Chubb against the Cowboys, and really the run game, there was really no hiccup even after he left. How confident are you, and how confident is this team that they can sustain that dominant run attack without Nick Chubb? All of a sudden, that contract with Kareem Hunt is looking very, very. It's definitely living up to the contract right now. He's coming in handy big time. How confident are you that the run game can sustain what it has been able to accomplish already 1 month in?
Yeah, I mean, it helps when your backup is the 2017 rushing champ, right? So I don't think they'll miss a beat. Now the question is when Hunt needs a breather, can Dearness Johnson, Don Terrell Hilliard, can they come in and fill in adequately? And Dearness certainly looked really good in the Dallas game with a game high 95 yards, and he outrushed Ezekiel Elliott in that game. But Kareem Hunt is leading the NFL in yards after contact per carry. And the offensive line is, creating the running lanes for him where he's not even getting contact until 3, 4, 5 yards deep past the line of scrimmage. The Browns rank number 2 in the NFL right now in run block win rate, in an ESPN metric that kind of tracks how successful you are at winning your run blocks across the line. So it's going to be a challenge because the Colts have the number 4 run defense in the NFL, and the next weekend they play the Steelers, and they're ranked number 1 in run defense. So we're going to find out a lot about just how good this rushing offense is. But they have the pieces, and they have, the pedigree so far to keep it going, I think.
You look at Baker Mayfield, year 3, year 2 was vastly different than year 1. And right now, year 3 looks vastly different than years 2 and 1. Right now, I mean, with Baker, it's almost like a less is more approach. And obviously that's the game plan moving forward. How would you label Baker's play to start? Is he being used as a game manager? Will they allow him to open up more as the season goes on? How do you see his role for the rest of the season? Is it going to remain the same as far as limiting what they allow him to do between the 20s? And obviously this is working for the Browns, but can it take them to that next level if he's not able to open it up and air it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the game manager label is probably fair. But when you're leading the NFL in rushing, it's kind of what you need out of your quarterback. I mean, he doesn't need to throw for 450 yards a game. They're not going to put up 58 passing attempts a game. And so, they need him to be efficient on third down. They need him to be efficient in the red zone, which he has been. And they need him to limit mistakes. And, he only has 2 turnovers in 4 games. If you take out the opening drive against Baltimore, he's only got 1 pick this season. So he's been very good at, being accurate and taking care of the football and, allowing that running game to do its thing. So I think Baker's been, maybe not spectacular, but certainly very solid and exactly what you kind of need in this offense that is built on running the football, setting up play action and getting the ball to playmakers in space.
As far as Odell Beckham Jr. is concerned, again, we got to see him be used in a much different way in the offense this past weekend. How much more of that should we expect to see? I mean, he even said to the media afterwards that, look, he has no problem being used more than just a receiver, and he was able to show off his playmaking ability on full display this past weekend. How much more of that type of attack should we see from OBJ, not just from what he could do in the passing game, but in some of those trick plays that we saw this past weekend and the reverses and others?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to continue to try to be creative in getting him the ball. Wouldn't surprise me if at some point this year Odell has a touchdown pass attempt to Jarvis Landry, returning the favor on the touchdown they had in the opening drive against Dallas. So, it's going to be a challenge for sure because, people are going to be they're going to be keyed in on OBJ, especially after that performance he had against Dallas. And again, the Browns are going to be a running team, but I think Stefanski has shown that he can get the ball to Odell Beckham and put him in position to make plays in key moments. So I don't think that is going to change, and you're going to continue to see, especially now that he's healthy, Odell Beckham, with some opportunities to score some touchdowns and make some big plays.
The defense forcing a lot of turnovers, number 1 in takeaways, and they're very active. But again, when I watch this team, it doesn't look like a good defense. But yet you look at the numbers and how aggressive they are. They're getting a lot of takeaways. What's the feel on the defense right now? I know a lot of guys have been out. You put out the injury report earlier on your Twitter. No Adrian Claiborne, or at least he's questionable. I'm sorry, as is Carl Joseph. But no Ogunjobi, and of course Greedy Williams out as well. Just what's the timetable for when you see this defense start to become more healthy and really get a good feel for who they are as a whole unit?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a problem, especially down the middle. Linebacker, safety has not been a strength for them. Carl Joseph is questionable for Sunday. The training camp injury to Grant Delpit, their second-round pick out of LSU, really hurt because they were expecting big things out of him. And then, they've been a little bit banged up at linebacker as well, especially, Mac Wilson working his way back from the hyperextended knee injury. And now, they're not going to have Ogunjobi on Sunday as well, who has played pretty well for them, even though he's been a little bit nicked up. So it's, Myles Garrett can cover up for a lot of that. And when he makes a big play, strip sack, he's had that in 3 consecutive games. You can cover up for a little bit of your weaknesses and vulnerabilities elsewhere. But I don't think you can say that this is a strength right now, especially in the back 7. So, getting healthy, shoring up the safety position, I think is going to be key for them if they're going to make some improvement defensively, because you can't count on scoring 40-plus points every game, which is basically almost what the offense has been doing.
All right, ESPN's Browns reporter Jake Trotter, good enough to join us here today on the Justin Kinner Show. Jake, we'll send you out with this. Every Friday on the show, we always go 3 and out with the Browns, 3 and out with the Bengals. I won't make you go 3 and out, but give us one reason why the Browns will win on Sunday and one reason why they will lose on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest reason is the offensive line and the combination of that and Kareem Hunt. Without Nick Chubb, I think that might be enough. And we're going to find out how good the Colts run defense is as well. I mean, I think that a reason that they could lose is, in addition to maybe the Colts run defense being, even better than what we think, just Phillip Rivers really picking on some of the vulnerabilities in the Cleveland secondary, kind of the way that Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow have. It's not like the defense stuff, either one of those guys. And if Rivers can get going a little bit, that could be problematic for the Browns.
All right, Jake Trotter covers the Browns for ESPN. Give him a follow on Twitter at Jake_Trotter. Jake, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks, Justin.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Wake up, Ohio, to what's going on in Columbus. The former House Speaker indicted for bribery. The majority ignoring medical experts and how COVID-19 impacts our jobs, health, schools, and local businesses. Giving huge tax breaks for millionaires and corporations. We can do better, and I'm a problem solver committed to fighting for hardworking families. My name is Erin Rosiello, candidate for Ohio House District 62, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Erin Rosiello, at your service.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract, full coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You know that sound when a crowd of fans suddenly goes quiet? This November, your vote is your voice. 39% of eligible voters did not vote in the last presidential election. This election is your chance to be heard and decide who represents you. Raise your voice, sports fans. Register to vote. National Vote Early Day is October 24th. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I have had CertaPro painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time. They get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase strength, and give you the dependability you demand. We engineer our equipment precisely at every level. It's what makes us a leader. Save up to $11,000 on construction equipment or get 0% APR financing for 60 months. After December 31st, 2020. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's the big building material and home improvement auction online in Worcester, Ohio at the Wayne County Fairgrounds. Kitchens, flooring, doors, trim, plumbing, lighting, tools, and unclaimed freight online at pbauctions.com. Bidding has begun, and it all ends Thursday at 12 noon. Go to pbauctions.com and register to bid in the Wayne County Fairgrounds online auction. Live previews Wednesday and Thursday, and the auction ends starting at 12 noon Thursday. So go to pbauctions.com, and we'll see you online at the auction.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens, and all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, everybody, we are back. Justin Kinner with you here. It is the Justin Kinner Show live here on a Friday. Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Bengals Ravens coming up on Sunday. Browns and Colts. We've talked plenty of Browns. We'll get back into that later. We're going to go 3 and out with the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals coming up around the corner. We'll hear from James Rapine again coming up as we preview the Bengals and the Ravens matchup. Lamar Jackson will play 100% ready to go. Again, had a stomach flu or something along the lines and missed a day or two. Regardless, he will be set and ready to go, unfortunately, for your Bengals coming up on Sunday. Tonight, NBA Finals Game 5, and we'll be joined by Lakers studio host Allie Clifton. She'll be joining the show coming up about 45 minutes from now, 4:30. We'll hear from the Lakers studio host again. She was formerly with the Cleveland Cavaliers as their sideline reporter during the LeBron run, the second run, I should say, when he won the title. She's now, of course, with the Lakers. So we'll talk about the Lakers in Game 5 tonight coming up later on in the broadcast. 457-9464. It's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. So out of the NFL, this is away from the Browns and the Bengals news, of course. Washington football team's Ron Rivera was asked about Dwayne Haskins. It's the first public statement that Ron Rivera has given ever since, of course, benching Dwayne Haskins, not just taking the starting role away from him, but bumping him down 2 spots on the depth chart. He was the starter. Now he's not even the backup. Now he's the third string quarterback. Kyle Allen's now the starter. And of course, they moved up Alex Smith to the backup role. But Ron Rivera goes on to say that he has definitely not given up on Dwayne Haskins. He goes, by no means have I given up on Dwayne Haskins. However, he did make it clear that, look, last week he wanted to see more progress. And the lack of progress in many areas of Haskins' game, coupled with playing in a division, to be honest, that might be won by a sub-500 team. Look, that right there is more than enough reason for Rivera to pull the plug on the Haskins experiment, mainly because although you might be looking at this as a rebuilding year anyways, you might accidentally find yourselves in the playoffs. And that's very important. That's key. And what's even more interesting about the NFC East is that you could potentially find yourself winning a division as a 6 or 7 win team and have a very good draft pick next year. Not many playoff teams have good draft picks unless, of course, they acquire them through trades or whatever. The bottom line is that, look, Dwayne Haskins, it doesn't take much. If you watch Dwayne Haskins, if you watch the Washington football team when he's under center, they're not good. He's not good. And people want to show up and pull up this graphic that was like a split screen, and it had the stats of Daniel Jones with the Giants and the stats of Dwayne Haskins with the Washington football team. And everyone's like, well, he's still playing. How come he's not playing? I think we're asking the wrong question. I think it should be, why the hell is Daniel Jones still playing? It shouldn't be, well, he's playing, he should be playing. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I like Dwayne Haskins. I think under the right coaching staff, under the right circumstances, that he could be good. I actually liked his chances under Ron Rivera, but let's be clear, this hasn't been a normal year for him to be able to get enough snaps and to be able to get enough tutelage from head coach Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, once the season starts, doesn't have time to have individual projects. He's running the whole team. He's also battling cancer. There's a lot going on in that locker room in Washington. They're they are changing the name. There was a black cloud that just kind of, basically lives over that organization right now. PR is a nightmare. Every decision that they make, you could just basically chalk it up as the wrong one. However, I don't think benching Dwayne Haskins was the wrong thing. I think they made the right decision to bench Dwayne Haskins. I don't think that Dwayne Haskins is a quarterback that is all of a sudden going to wake up this organization. I don't know who that quarterback is. It could have been Cam Newton. Many people did believe it was going to be Cam Newton, especially when Ron Rivera, who left the Panthers, who, of course, Cam Newton had his best years of his career under, takes over Washington. It would have made too much sense for that to happen, but here we are. Look, and let's be real. If any other quarterback out there would have pulled a stunt that Dwayne Haskins did last year, we would not be letting that quarterback down. People forget there was a situation in Dwayne Haskins' rookie season where he was called to go into the game for the first time, and they couldn't find him. Where was Dwayne Haskins? They couldn't find him. He was down at the other end of the field taking a selfie with fans in the stands. There's a game going on. Your team's losing, and you're over there laughing and chuckling it up with fans. That's not a good look. The other part that wasn't a good look for Dwayne Haskins was on draft night. Remember draft night? He did it at a bowling alley, which I don't care where he did it. At a bowling alley. And he didn't like where he got picked. And instead of looking happy and excited and being grateful for being drafted, he looked right into the camera and said the NFL done did messed up. And those, like when he's rolling his eyes. So when Daniel Jones, I remember the cameras that were, they were panning over Dwayne Haskins. They got his initial reaction when the New York Giants announced that they were going to take Daniel Jones instead of Dwayne Haskins. He was rolling his eyes. That's not a good look. There's a lot working against Dwayne Haskins than working for. Some of them are self-inflicted. Others are just because he ended up going to a bad organization. Going to the wrong organization can always be career suicide, but that's the problem with the draft. Sometimes you don't get to choose. You've seen quarterbacks force their way out of situations that they don't want to be in. You've seen Eli Manning force his way away from the Giants. We've talked about Elway. We've talked about a lot of quarterbacks who have tried to throw their weight around. There was talk that Joe Burrow probably should have done the same thing with Cincinnati. But Joe Burrow is a prime example of a guy that you can't always look at Dwayne Haskins and say, well, all of your struggles, all of your faults are because you're playing for a bad organization in Washington. Joe Burrow is playing for a very bad organization in the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's doing just fine. Joe Burrow is doing just fine. Now, he's running for his life every play, but that's a true reflection of the ignorance of the front office who chose not to get him an offensive line. That has nothing to do with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, a rookie throwing 300 yards for 3 straight games, first rookie to ever do that. Joe Burrow is just fine. Joe Burrow is doing what he's supposed to do. Dwayne Haskins, there was a lot that he could have done as well. Dwayne Haskins, again, we talked about how this limits him. This is why I think Justin Fields made the right decision to not opt out. to stick it out. Even had Ohio State had to play in the spring, there was a lot of reports that Justin Fields would have ultimately chose to play because I think he sees the importance of, hey, when you only play one full season in college, that's not enough. There's not really. Can you think of one NFL quarterback right now that is dominating that only played one full year? Because that was Dwayne Haskins. That was the concern about Joe Burrow. At first, of course, he got 2 full years, but he had one really dominant year and one really year. Joe Burrow was graded as a late, I think like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick coming into last season. Then, of course, he only goes on to win a Heisman, win a national championship, be drafted number 1 overall. He went through all that success just to go to Cincinnati. Congratulations. Dwayne Haskins was a Heisman finalist. All right. Had an outstanding year. I mean, literally gave Buckeye fans a lot to be excited about because he was a part of the offense being opened up under Ryan Day. It was a fantastic year. It was awesome. It was fun. Heisman finalist. He gets rewarded by going to Washington. So my point is you look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow found a way to make it work. He's found a way to make it work. We're only 4 games into the season, but I don't want to hear from Dwayne Haskins apologists saying, hey, it's not his fault. It's the Giant, or it's Washington's. It's not Washington's fault. It's not Washington's fault. He didn't have there's not as much there. I mean, he's not very accurate. He overthrows a lot of balls, which of course speaks to the inaccuracies. There's a lot of flaws within his game. And by the way, his NFL career is not over. There is definitely a spot for him in the NFL. And for right now, that's just going to be backup. 3rd string, technically, on this roster. But I do believe he's going to get another opportunity to be a starter down the road. And who knows, it might even still be this season. But I have no problem with Ron Rivera coming out and basically saying, hey, you know what? We're going to give him a shot. But I have no problem with him coming out and saying, hey, we're not that good right now, but nobody in this division is. We could accidentally win 4 or 5 games and still be competing for a division title. That's sad. It's pathetic, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming up. We'll preview tonight's NBA Finals Game 5 between the Lakers and the Heat. Lakers studio host Allie Clifton. She'll be joining and calling into the show coming up at 4:30. Looking forward to talking Lakers and LeBron James coming up with her. So we'll get to that. We'll also get to our conversation with James Rapine as we preview the Bengals and Ravens matchup. We'll also go 3 and out with both the Browns and Bengals coming up around the corner in hour number 2 as well. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Beware, the forces of hail will rain down upon you.
What the hail?
Storms, the threat of eternal hail.
Who the hell was that, honey?
Hell if I know.
What the hell did he want?
He was hella concerned about us getting a roof inspection.
Hell of a way to tell you about it.
Lance Roofing and Siding is your local expert in everything hail can damage on your home. Have unsightly hail damage? Visit us at lanceroofing.com to schedule your appointment today.
It's time for Straight Talk, just like football. You want the best coverage with your wireless network without your wallet taking a hit? Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same nationwide coverage as the big carriers, America's best networks, for up to 50% less. Just $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data than 2G with an unlimited plan. No contract, no mystery fees. Don't get sidelined by weak protection. Get Straight Talk Wireless. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We're here to help. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $32.99. Plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? Don't worry. You can sign up fast right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Does this place look haunted?
No, I don't think so.
What about those two creepy girls?
Come stay with us.
That is truly frightening.
You know what's really scary? Missing out on Geico's great service. With Geico, you get 24/7 access to licensed agents.
Thank you, creepy girls.
Want to see our room?
We're gonna sleep in the car now.
Happy Geico-ween. Switch today for 24/7 access to licensed agents.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, we've teamed up with AAA to save you 20% online or in store. That's why they call us the Savings Dream Team. Okay, we're the only ones calling us that, but it's true. Your AAA membership can save you 20% at Napa. So we're basically superheroes with the most specific power ever, saving you 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
20% off regular retail prices with valid AAA membership card. Offer ends 10/31/20.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
We have James Rapine with Sports Illustrated who covers the Cincinnati Bengals. James, welcome in. How are you?
I'm well, Justin. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you taking time. Look, it's been an interesting media day. Every time I was checking Twitter, I saw Hamburger Helper was trending a little bit ago, and I think that was because of you guys.
Yeah, it was. T. Higgins' favorite food is his mom's Hamburger Helper. So
now, what does she do differently? Because Hamburger Helper is Hamburger Helper, but sometimes you could add some more noodles. It might be, I mean, how can you spice it up? You add your own spices to it. I mean, what is it about his mom's Hamburger Helper? I'm curious.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's just she knows how to make it better than others. Maybe it's the only Hamburger Helper he's had. I do know he says anytime he sees her, she's in town, he makes sure that she makes it, and it's the cheeseburger Hamburger Helper.
There you go. There you go.
That's pretty good. I'm a burger guy.
I'm a stroganoff. I love the stroganoff Hamburger Helper. That's the land I live on. So,
gotcha.
Hey,
I'll eat that too.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, quick. I want to open up with this: the Carlos Dunlap situation. A lot coming from that. Carlos Dunlap was not. He did not shy away from voicing his displeasure with where he's at on the depth chart heading into this weekend's matchup with the Ravens. What can you tell us about, for one, the decision making on where he's placed on the depth chart this weekend, and could there be potential fallout from him being so frustrated with his placement on the depth chart this weekend?
Yeah, talk about a shock. I did not see that coming when Carlos Dunlap sat down on a Zoom call earlier this afternoon. He was clearly frustrated, and more so about the lack of communication, but also the role. Because if you look at him, and he's a two-time Pro Bowler. He's made 102 regular season starts since 2013, and really outside of 2 games where he missed last year due to injury, he started all of those regular season games over the past 7 years. So he's frustrated because to him, it wasn't communicated properly. He said that the coaching staff just put the depth chart on the board, and he didn't name this guy, but it's Carl Lawson who was there as a starter. And so, look, I get it. It is frustrating. But the reality is that this is the right move. Carl Lawson has been better than Carlos Dunlap against the run. He's been their best edge rusher. He's kind of shown that he can be a 3-down player, which hasn't been the case in past years. So, of course, you want to see more of a guy like Lawson, who so far has clearly been, like I said, their best edge rusher. On the flip side, if I'm Carlos Dunlap, absolutely I want the coaching staff to talk to me about that and sit me down and say, hey, you're still going to be in there on third downs. You're still going to get plenty of playing time, but Carl's going to start on Sunday. And I think that disconnect is what led to his frustrations and him kind of airing out his frustrations on the Zoom call earlier today.
Earlier in the week, I was following you on Twitter, and again, the Bengals. It's funny. it's kind of interesting when you look throughout the week, the Bengals were showing a lot of interest in potential free agent defensive linemen that were out there. And then, of course, that leads to today's decision. I don't know if there's a parallel there or not, but apparently, I mean, you could just tell that the Bengals front office, with all the problems on the offensive line, there seems to be a lot of attention being given to that defensive line right now. What is the number one need that they are potentially looking at as far as, or what's wrong, or the number one issue that they're potentially looking at when it comes to this D line right now?
Defensive tackle. I mean, they've just been so ravaged with injuries on the defensive line. Geno Atkins, we're waiting on the injury report to come out. I expect it to come out within the next hour from today's practice, but I expect him to be limited again. It would be the 5th straight practice. But he hasn't played all season with the shoulder injury that he suffered in the team's final scrimmage in camp. But that's just not the only one. So you're missing an 8-time Pro Bowler. Mike Daniels got injured last week, for a pretty substantial amount of time, I think. It's an elbow injury. He landed on injured reserve. So this year with the new rules, it's a minimum of 3 weeks. Could certainly be more. Josh Tupou opted out. Ryan Glasgow failed his physical. So it's just been a revolving door on the interior of that defensive line. And that continues now with Daniels out. Hopefully they can get Atkins back. I would say it's probably 50-50 this week, which obviously isn't a good sign since they've left him on the roster all season long. But I would expect them to sign a veteran defensive tackle. If it's not before Sunday, certainly next week. And that could be as simple as just adding someone to the practice squad. Since you can elevate them for game days and stuff like that, you can get a little creative. So we'll see what they do, but I'd expect them to add to that interior in the near future.
Offensive line with the Bengals, that's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to target. It's easy to poke at. It's easy to, blame all the struggles on that. But again, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an offensive lineman aficionado. I really couldn't even talk about, I don't even know what the proper lingo is. If I was sitting across from an offensive lineman, I wouldn't even know, how they talk about, hey, offensive lineman, structure or anything. I couldn't do it. But I don't think it takes a genius to look at this Bengals team and realize just how bad that line is. I mean, up until this past weekend, Joe Burrow was, hit more than any other quarterback in the NFL, and he's only a rookie. And on top of it, Zach Taylor's offense has him throwing the ball 140 plus times heading into last week. And multiple guys I spoke to, with ESPN and others covering football, I said, hey, does Zach Taylor, does he play a role in trying to help protect him in regards to, hey, the offensive line ain't going to protect him, obviously. So why are you continuing to drop him back and throw him so much? Is the amount of times that he has thrown the ball been of any concern, considering every time he drops back, he's vulnerable to, being hit and hit hard?
Yeah, that Cleveland game certainly was. That was the one that stood out more than any. He threw 61 times. 37 completions, in week 2. And part of that was game script. I'll defend Zach on that a bit. But I agree with you. And the reality is you look at this team, and yes, the offensive line is flawed. Bobby Hart is a punching bag when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals fan base. People just dislike him. But one area where he has been solid this year and relatively good is in the run game and being a run blocker. And now that Alex Redmond is in there, and I think can bring at least a little stability to that right guard spot, which was a revolving door since Xavier Su'a-Filo went down in week 1, I think they should be able to run the ball a little more consistently, including for their sake Sunday against the Ravens. And if you can do that, you could take some pressure on Burrow. But to your point, Justin, even if that's the case, even if the Ravens completely take away Joe Mixon in the run game, I think it's up to Zach Taylor to get Joe Mixon involved in the pass through the air, because he's a guy that can run routes. He's got good hands. He can make defenders miss. He had a bad first half last week against Jacksonville, and then he catches a pass in the flat. It takes it for a 9-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden that offense gets going. And that, to me, is what you need to see. You need to rely on number 28 some. I get it. It's a passing league. Well, fine. Throw it to him then. But find a way to get your best guy involved. And I think that'll help the offensive line out, and that'll not eliminate, but it'll certainly limit the number of hits that Burrow has to take.
AJ Green, James, look, as the weeks go on, should we expect to see, again, he missed basically 2 full seasons. As the weeks go on and he gets more acclimated, should we expect to see the AJ Green of old, or should we continue to get used to seeing an old AJ Green by the looks of it here 4 weeks in?
The Bengals will tell you he's the same guy. I asked Tyler Boyd that yesterday, and he said, look, he's still a great player. He's still that star. He said he's still the best receiver on the team. That's what Boyd said. And expect him to still have 1,000 yards this year. But it doesn't look like it, right? He's not getting the separation. Something looks off. And I don't know if it's him thinking through his routes, because it is a different offense, which to me, A.J. Green's such a smart player, and he said that last week, but I question that a little bit. Is it the hamstring from training camp? Well, he hasn't been listed on the injury report, and he's been full go in practice, so you would assume it's not that. Obviously, the chemistry with Burrow is a little off, and he's not getting separation. So is it fair to expect him to improve? Yeah, I expect him to have a much better game than he's had over the past couple of weeks, like 1 catch for 3 yards last week. It's just really no separation. That's the key, because he's had some bad weeks, in his career, specifically if Andy Dalton in the past couldn't get him the ball. But there's never been this lull. I mean, just in the longest catch he's had this year is 15 yards. He doesn't have a touchdown. He has 119 yards receiving. At some point, he's going to have to snap out of this. I don't think he's this, shell of himself where he just can't play at all. He might not be the guy that we remember, but I really have a hard time believing that he just fell off and can't be productive anymore. So we'll see if they can put it together on Sunday. And I do think it is up to this coaching staff, Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator, to get the ball to Green, get a couple easy pitches and catches from Burrow to Green, whether it's, just quick slants, whether it's, a crossing route, something that's going to get him involved early, get his confidence up. And it is kind of crazy that we're talking about that with a guy like A.J. Green, but, just get him into a little bit of a rhythm, because clearly him and Burrow haven't been in a rhythm, and he hasn't played well this far.
Yeah, here from a Browns perspective, I mean, we've seen that work wonders over the first couple weeks of the season between Baker Mayfield and OBJ. I mean, you could just tell early on, everyone's like, hey, the Browns need to focus on establishing the run early. Although they do focus on the run, Baker and OBJ that seems to be their main focus early on, is to get OBJ some touches early, get him going early, and that could be the recipe to success as far as AJ Green is concerned in Cincinnati. Real quick, while we're on this too, I mean, Joe Burrow, we haven't even talked about, I haven't talked to you since the season's even started. Joe Burrow, look, 4 weeks in, we're not really basing everything off wins and losses right now. They're 1-2-1. Take the win-loss expectation out of this. Bengals fans, I think everyone is super impressed with what they've been able to see so far from Joe Burrow.
I don't know how you can't be, Justin. He's just been such a, difference maker, honestly. He kept them in that Browns game, really did everything he could week one, considering the circumstances and awful offensive line play, specifically in the first half. He's just done everything for this team, and he's already the face of the franchise. He's already a leader in that locker room. From a scheme standpoint, he's a guy who goes up to the line and makes the checks and makes the calls and the reads. I mentioned that touchdown to Mixon at the end of the first half. He said, run to the flat. Mixon was supposed to block there, and he told him to run to the flat. And then he hits him for the touchdown. So he just gets it. He has a really good grasp of the playbook and understands how to read defenses at a really high level, which is just so rare for a rookie, specifically one that didn't have a preseason and a traditional offseason. So I think the Bengals got one. And your concern about the offensive line is certainly a big concern. And then the other thing is, Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan, they have to show, in my eyes at least, they have to show that they're the right guys to get the most out of Burrow. But I have no doubt about Joe Burrow and the fact that he could develop and become an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I'll send you out with this, because that's a great transition to this as we close this out. And again, we have James Rapine, Sports Illustrated, covers the Bengals. A few years ago, when Zach Taylor was hired, there was a lot of names that were floated around that, could potentially take over as head coach for the Bengals. And obviously Zach Taylor got the gig, but another coach that is going to get a lot of attention this coming off season is going to be Eric Bieniemy. And people always just assume that, hey, that the Texans is where he needs to go, or that the Falcons is where he needs to go. I like to look at every situation based on what the quarterback situation is. Obviously, Watson and Houston's not a bad situation, but cap space is going to be a concern moving forward for them. Atlanta, Matt Ryan, former MVP. You like Julio Jones. Obviously, you have a good run game there, but still a lot of uncertainty. The Bengals are a very sexy situation right now with the future of Joe Burrow and what he's been able to show so far. The Bengals missed on Bieniemy their first time they had a chance to get him. How hard do you think that they could potentially go after him if things with Zach Taylor don't seem to be right on track moving forward?
I certainly think that's a guy they would be, willing to talk to if that's the case. I don't think they're there yet by any stretch, right? I think they very much believe in Taylor, and things would kind of have to crumble over the final 12 games of the year for that to be the case. But absolutely, he's a former Bengal. Obviously, his credentials. They interviewed him once. So he would certainly be on the list. And on the flip side, I think the Bengals are suddenly a pretty attractive job, because regardless of your track record, if you have a guy like Burrow on a rookie deal, look at that. I mean, that's the chance to really strike. And really the biggest blemish, because you can improve the offensive line, the biggest blemish is how tough this division is, because I think it's the best division in football. I know a lot of people said the NFC West coming into the year. I think it's this AFC North. And I think we're going to see some really good football over the next couple of months in this division.
All right, James Rapine covers the Bengals for Sports Illustrated. Good enough to hang out with us here this afternoon. James, thanks so much for your time. We have a message coming in quick. Just what are you hearing on Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson missed another day of practice. What's the word on him so far from what you've heard?
Everything I'm hearing is he's still set to play, and that makes sense. He talked to the media yesterday. And usually if, a player's dealing with a serious injury, he's not going to talk. And we'll see on the injury report certainly tomorrow. But, yeah, back-to-back days. This is the first time in his pro career that he has missed back-to-back practices. So I think it is more than nothing, but I'm not sure how significant it is. And I do expect him to start for the Ravens on Sunday.
All right, James, thanks so much for your time, man. Great catching up. You take care. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Justin.
All right, there he is, James Rapine again. Sports Illustrated covers the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mainly clear with a high near 84. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low around 62. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
This is Dr. Mashika Roberts, Columbus Health Commissioner. The pandemic is more than a physical health issue. As parents, it's important to remember that our children are also coping with drastic life changes. 1 in 4 teens misuse a prescription drug at least once in their lifetime. We must talk to our kids about healthy coping strategies and the dangers of prescription drug misuse. Visit don'tliveinDenial.org to learn how to dispose of your leftover pills and talk to your kids about opiates.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps for big screen football.
I'm attorney David Brannon, and I'm running for Montgomery County Probate Court Judge on November 3rd. I've worked hard to protect those in need and to get the right answers for families in probate court. I am also certified by the Ohio State Bar Association as a specialist in probate law. I have several plans to improve court services to this community. First, I want to allow a law clinic underneath the roof of the probate court to provide better access to justice for families. I also want to streamline the filing process to improve efficiency and fairness. Please vote for me, David Brannon, November 3rd. I'm David Brannon, and I approve this message.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Sure, the players bring some skill to the game, but if I don't put them in my lineup, who cares? Not me. I'm Eric Rubino, fantasy baseball GM and league runner-up 2 of the last 9 years. I use the Progressive Name Your Price tool with options based on my budget. And for a guy that's used to being in control, it fits. Like this runner-up t-shirt. Champ gets a trophy, but you can't wear a trophy. Boom.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
My husband, Alex Hussey, was hit by an IED in Afghanistan.
I was playing man on foot patrol, and I stepped on the bomb. Lost my legs and left hand in an explosion.
DAV helps veterans of every generation to get the benefits they've earned.
To see Alex learning to snow ski, that's life-changing.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
This has meant so much. Thank you, DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Update your lighting and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Find your style with Patriot Lighting. Menards carries a great selection of indoor and outdoor lighting in stock. Update the lighting in your home today and get 11% off all of it. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Prices are good until Saturday, October 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
It's time for Straight Talk, just like football. You want the best coverage with your wireless network without your wallet taking a hit? Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same nationwide coverage as the big carriers, America's best networks, for up to 50% less. Just $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data than 2G with an unlimited plan. No contract, no mystery fees. Don't get sidelined by weak protection. Get Straight Talk Wireless. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
I'm pretty sure our new house might be haunted.
What makes you say that?
The furniture is levitating. Oh, and the ghost.
Welcome home.
Yeah, that's spooky.
You know what's really scary? Missing out on Geico for help with homeowners and renters insurance. Geico makes it easy to save a bunch.
Great. You're not sticking around, right?
The party's just getting started.
Happy Geico Week. Call today and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Still a lot more to get into. We're going to talk a little NBA coming up here in just about 10 minutes. In fact, Allie Clifton, she is going to join us. She's one of the Lakers studio hosts. Again, she's formerly the sideline reporter for the Cleveland Cavaliers and was the sideline reporter for the Cavaliers when LeBron and the Cavs won their very first NBA championship. LeBron's third, and that's the last time he won an NBA title. And LeBron tonight with the win over the Miami Heat in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. It could be the 17th NBA championship for the Los Angeles Lakers and the fourth career championship for LeBron James. It would be his third championship with a third different team. Fourth overall, 2 with the Miami Heat, 1 with the Cavs, and potentially 1 with the Lakers. I have a hard time believing that the Heat are good enough to win 3 straight against the Lakers, which coincidentally the last time a team in the finals was trailing 3-1 and came back to win it all, it was LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers. So I just don't think Miami has that much firepower. So we'll talk about that again coming up here in just a few moments with Allie Clifton. Looking forward to chatting with her. Real quick, back to the Facebook or the social media reaction again. We do the show live on 1410 ESPN Radio. We stream it live at wingam.com. And of course, we broadcast it live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and you can watch the show weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. We're also live on YouTube. Search the ESPN Dayton YouTube channel. Like and subscribe that, and you'll get notifications every day when we are on the air. And then again, subscribe and download the Justin Kinner Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store, where you'll have access to full shows, select segments, and all interviews that we do. You'll have access to all of that in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. Plus, check out the Watch ESPN Dayton tab at wingam.com. You can go back and watch all previous episodes, select segments, as we just talked about, including our conversation with Bobby Carpenter from yesterday, which we'll have some of that coming up around the corner. I had an interesting conversation with him about expectations of playing in an empty shoe. Like the NBA bubble was a little different because we knew, for one, it's a bubble. It's a remote location. It's not the Staples Center. It's not where the Cavaliers play. It's not the Boston Garden. It is it's a bubble. There was no home court advantage for anyone. And there was no teams playing on their home court. It was playing on a remote location. The NFL's been playing at home. Some stadiums have fans, other stadiums don't. In fact, both Ohio teams are going to be able to have, I believe, 12,000 fans in attendance at their games moving forward, as opposed to 6, which they've initially had already. So they get fans. The NBA, no fans. But what we talked about with Bobby Carpenter is when Ohio State kicks off the season 2 weeks from tomorrow against Nebraska at the Shoe, what is that going to look like? It's not just what it's going to look like, it's what it's going to feel like. What's the Shoe like? We are used to watching Ohio State play, even if it's Miami of Ohio. We are used to watching Ohio State on TV and just feel the energy. Like, for those of you who have even been fortunate to go to the Shoe on game day, even if you don't even step foot in the stadium, you still get the goosebumps. Just, you could hear the band, you can hear the fans go crazy, you could see everyone tailgating around the Shoe. All of that's not there. So there's no home field. You may be playing at home, but there's no home field advantage. It's just Ohio State being better than everybody. But we talked about that with Bobby Carpenter, so check that out. Again, we'll have some of that coming up your way, but check it out at wingam.com. So I talked about earlier Dwayne Haskins, Ron Rivera coming out making his first initial statement since benching Dwayne Haskins. He had a lot to say regarding that he has not given up on Dwayne Haskins, but I started talking about, look, if you're Justin Fields, this is why it was so important to go back to Ohio State another year. Not a lot of quarterbacks have success after only being a college starter for 1 year. Charles Tackett on Facebook says, going back to your Haskins conversation, 1 year wonders in college, Mitchell Trubisky and Kyler Murray. Hope Haskins is given another shot, but seeing Alex Smith is now the backup to Allen, he has to earn Rivera's trust. Absolutely. Again, Kyle Allen named the starter for the Washington football team. And then you have Alex Smith, who just jumped right up to the backup spot. Again, Kyle Allen was the backup to Dwayne Haskins. Alex Smith was in the third string. Now Dwayne Haskins not just gets the starting job taken from him, he moves 2 slots down on the depth chart. So with that being said, Charles, those are 2 great examples. Kyler Murray, he's having a very good start to his career. Mitchell Trubisky, they gave him every chance that they could. He's no longer the quarterback. In fact, last night the Bears win because they had Nick Foles starting that game when they beat the Buccaneers. So good. I mean, those are examples of one-hit wonders who were, chances were taken on them in the draft high, and that's what the Bears did with obviously Trubisky, and I think they're regretting that decision big time, and I think Washington's feeling the same way about Dwayne Haskins, but we shall see what happens moving forward. Tonight, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Again, you're going to have the Heat and the Lakers. LeBron James looking to win his 4th NBA championship, and the Lakers looking to win their 17th NBA championship. LeBron, 10th NBA Finals appearance. He has more Finals appearances than all but 2. The Lakers, the Celtics, and the Golden State Warriors are the only 3 teams that have more Finals appearances than LeBron James alone. How about that? LeBron James, though, looking to put a bow on the season tonight. Again, Game 5, we're going to talk about that with Allie Clifton. She's the studio host for the Los Angeles Lakers. She joins us next. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts? You may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened, but your time to file a claim is limited. Call 800-958-9488. That's 800-958-9488 for more information. As a result of thousands of victims filing sexual abuse claims, the Boy Scouts have filed for bankruptcy protection, and the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. If you are a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts, you may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. Call for more information with one of our compassionate counselors today. Remember, the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors. And Partners, LLP.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract, full coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
We saved big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yeah!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Cleveland State women's basketball coach Chris Kilsmeyer, COVID survivor.
I was fatigued, just like every other basketball coach in March, but didn't think about getting sick. I woke up one night with the worst pains and chills I'd ever experienced. I tested positive for coronavirus and immediately self-quarantined. I got worse and worse and checked into the hospital. Multiple times I said, I don't want to die. We know what works. We know how to fight this, but it's going to take all of us doing the right thing every single day.
Sponsored by the Ohio Hospital Association.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Ohio, wake up to what our state lawmakers are doing. The majority focuses on the former speaker's alleged bribery, virtually ignoring how COVID-19 impacts our jobs, health, schools, and business, even cutting funds for schools and healthcare while keeping tax breaks for millionaires. We can do better. I'm a problem solver who will fight for working families. My name is Erin Rosiello, candidate for Ohio State House District 62, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Erin Rosiello, at your service.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
The Western Ohio Home Builders Association invites you to the Fall Parade of Homes, Saturday and Sunday, October 17th and 18th, from noon to 4 p.m. each day, presented by Minster Bank. This free event will feature 10 beautifully designed homes, all with their own unique features and in some of the most desirable areas of the northern Miami Valley. Visit with the builders and discuss your future home building plans, or simply dream a while. Find a complete list of all the homes on the tour and directions to each house online at westernohiohba.com. We will see you there.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide, Charmin, and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts plus an additional shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefits package on day one. For more information, visit pgcareers.com, search for Dayton, and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
They can bulge, go bald, wear down, flatten, or be in dire need of replacing.
No, guys, it's not you.
We're talking about your tires. Let Fat Boys get your car rolling again, safe and sound. Fat Boys carries tires in all makes, styles, and sizes,
Including Continental, Goodyear, Michelin, and more.
Check out Fat Boys' new location in North Dayton
At the corner of Meadmore and I-75.
or 3050 Springboro Pike in South Dayton.
Fat Boys, your ultimate resource for wheels, tires, service, and accessories.
Look for Fat Boys at fatboysdayton.com.
Hey, you. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Whether it's betting on the big game, catching up on bills, or saving up for the holidays. We could all use a little extra cash this time of year. Hey, how does $1,000 sound? It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Listen for the word that wins every hour starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the word at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kenner Show live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We got plenty more to get into. We just had ESPN's Bobby Carpenter on the show. We'll get back to some more of our conversation here in just a little bit. Of course, we discussed what the shoe can look like here in a couple of weeks. It's insane that we were talking about Ohio State kicking off so much later than everybody else. Just grateful to have college football, but what will the shoe look like with no fans in attendance? We'll talk about that with Bobby Carpenter coming up around the corner. We've spent a ton of time on week 5 of the NFL season kicking off this week. Of course, college football and everything going on, Major League Baseball, the playoffs, but the NBA season potentially wrapping up tonight, Game 5 between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. The Lakers in pursuit of their 17th NBA championship. LeBron chasing that number 4, and he could potentially get that number 4 tonight. It would be his fourth championship with his third different team. And joining us now to talk about all of that, we have Lakers studio host Allie Clifton with us. Allie, welcome in. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking time and hanging out with us a little bit. And before we get into the Lakers and the Heat tonight, just how impressed have you been with the NBA bubble? I mean, the season could potentially wrap up tonight. And the fact that if it does end tonight, it would have been a 100% effectiveness in regards to the bubble. I don't know if I was expecting outbreaks galore, but I don't think I was expecting it to be 100% bulletproof in that fashion. How surprised and how impressed have you been with this bubble?
You know, I think what we've learned is that being in the bubble is probably the safest place in our country right now. And kudos, hats off to the NBA and the league, all the way from Adam Silver, the commissioner, down to, you know, the president of the Players Association and Chris Paul managing players, and the vibe and just the way in which people wanted this to all take place and go about and go down. And, you know, there was a point in time where we didn't even know if it would happen. And then we didn't even know if it would get through the seeding games. And then what happens when the playoffs come? And here we are, as you've mentioned, talking about a potential closeout to crown an NBA champion tonight. And it's been remarkable. And you know, outside of the X's and O's, the wins and losses and what these athletes are playing for, there was such an understanding that it's so much bigger on a multitude of levels when it came to the NBA bubble. And I think that they have maximized and handled every situation that has come their way with such grace and dignity. And to see it come to fruition the way it has, you're just proud. You know, I say it every day. I'm proud of the NBA. I'm proud to be a part of this league. And to see what they have pulled off, again, is truly remarkable.
You know, the season's not even complete yet. Possibly, you know, tonight could be it. But it's almost like it's worked so well that I feel like that's created even more question marks for next season. I mean, technically, we could be wrapping up the 2019-2020 season here in October, and we're just a few months away from 2021. How do you envision the 2021 season looking? Because this almost works so well that it would almost be dumb to try anything else. But how realistic is it to reform this bubble again with way more teams?
You know, that's what's crazy is that you have the current season going on right now, but you also have the commissioner handling and fielding questions and working through scenarios to get the league back to where we all want it to be, which is in-home arenas, traveling with, most importantly, fans in the stands. But right now, it just doesn't seem as realistic. And the commissioner at one point, we talked about a December 1st date, and then it got pushed back to a Christmas date, and then January, and it continues to get slid back. And I think the one thing we've learned with COVID-19 is you just have to be ready to roll with the punches, move on the fly, because every single day a moment is so fluid. And so I think right now it's just a matter of waiting to hear what that next phase, what that next step looks like for next season. But as of right now, nothing has been set in stone, and I think you just have to have that understanding until it is. Because, you know, just listening and talking with friends and colleagues of mine on the daily who are in the bubble, the intricacies and the details, though from the outside looking in, seem as if it's just a simple test, move on with your life. No. You mess up a test, you go to a different site, you go to a different area, there's 2 tiers. You mess up any kind of those details, and you're back in quarantine. And so the process is so delicate. And so to think, to your point, that we could just go back to normal when next season comes, when that calendar year flips, I just don't think is likely right now. So we are living kind of moment by moment to see what next season looks like. But as of right now, it doesn't look like it's happening in this calendar year of 2020.
Lakers studio host Allie Clifton with us here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And this has been an emotional roller coaster year, 2020 for the Lakers. Obviously, COVID has impacted everyone across the board. Basketball, non-basketball, doesn't matter. But for the Lakers, it's definitely been a little bit more emotional for some because it seemed like years ago when the unfortunate passing of Kobe happened. I mean, that was the NBA world has come to a stop on multiple occasions this year. The first time was I just can't believe it. The passing of Kobe. That's when the NBA world came to a stop the first time, the second time being COVID. But thinking back to the passing of Kobe and then COVID hitting, and then tonight it could all be potentially wrapped up with the Lakers winning a championship wearing the Black Mamba jerseys. Bittersweet is the word that comes to mind when if you had to use one word to summarize the Lakers 2020 if they wrap it up with the title here tonight.
Yeah, I think that is a good word, Justin. I think special, magical are all words that have been used, especially when they rock the Mamba jerseys. When you talk about winning a championship, when you talk about Kobe Bryant, they just go hand in hand. And when you hear the word win, that's what the Lakers do in their Mamba jerseys. They're undefeated here in the postseason when they wear them. There's such a different meaning that becomes present with them. They understand the importance. They understand what they're representing more so than just the franchise themselves. And on down the line. And so when they actually got that news and heard that they could move it up from Game 7 wearing the Black Mamba jerseys to Game 5 and it potentially being the closeout situation, it's one of those things where you want to just hope that it comes to fruition for them, and then they have that opportunity tonight. And the way in which they say they approach the game, they present themselves in moments as such, you think that they could get the job done. But again, as we all know, anything can happen in sports. So they still have to go out and execute, but they certainly have a good opportunity tonight.
Bobby Carpenter, we're talking with him more coming up about, playing in an empty shoe coming up when Ohio State kicks off here in a few weeks. And we're just happy to have football back in general for Ohio State. So it's going to be exciting as far as that goes. But it's going to be a huge difference watching a game in an empty shoe. So many things have been impacted by COVID, but just how disappointing is it? I mean, it's great that the Lakers are about to win the championship potentially, but to not do it at the Staples Center, to not do it, in front of their home fans, I'm pretty sure, again, you hate to be that person that's like, oh man, I wish it was that, but we all understand the circumstances. But how much more special would that have been to not just win it in LA, but imagine LeBron going back to Miami and playing finals games in Miami after winning multiple championships there after leaving the Cavs years ago. A lot is left on the table as far as that's concerned.
I mean, when you think about sports and you think about the regular season and the grind of it all, you play for home court advantage when it comes to the postseason. But not only that, what makes it sweet, what makes sports enjoyable is the fans. It's the first thing that really came to mind when sports came to a halt because of COVID, was just how different the landscape would change simply because of that. And then you come to the moments of AD in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, a place he had never been at that point, hitting the game-winning shot in the Black Mamba jersey against Denver. And the first thing Braun said was, I just wish it could have happened in front of Staples Center, in that arena with the aura. All of it is just what makes it sweet. It's what makes it what sports have become. And I think back to my experience with the Cavs in 2016 and all of that when it came to the postseason run, when it came to the finals run and coming back from 3-1 and being a part of that. The joy, the celebration, it's lost, it's gone. But I think what we have to remind ourselves and remember is we got a dose of sports back. And to these guys, to these athletes, specifically to the NBA and then these two that are still left standing, today marks exactly 3 months for the Lakers since they've been in a bubble environment, a situation, half of that spent away from their families, just isolated when it comes to, the normalcies of what they're used to. And so to feel some sort of joy appreciation and love for the game and what we're witnessing, it's still very special. It truly is. But don't get me wrong. You just said it, and I've had moments. Man, I wish this was going to be in front of Staples Center, because it would be a home Laker game. And you won all those moments. But right now you have to make do with what you can. And I still think whoever does end up winning, they will get a gold star next to their franchise, because it has taken everything and more to get the job done.
Lakers studio host Allie Clifton with us here. Allie, I'll send you out with this. You've been able to follow LeBron's career for a long time up close. I mean, you were a longtime sideline reporter for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You were there, technically before LeBron came back the second time, and you were there to witness the 4th straight NBA Finals appearance. You witnessed him win his first championship in Cleveland, and now you're a part of this run, being able up close and personal to witness this run with the Lakers. You've seen just how this guy grinds. You've seen how he works. You know just how special this is going to be if they close it out tonight. I mean, 3 championships with 3 different teams, 4 total. I mean, his legacy is already one of the best of all time, but tonight is definitely going to take that to a next level if they actually close it out tonight.
There's no doubt. I think 2 things come to mind at the start of this postseason run this season, before they even took the floor against Portland at the time in the first round. He made the comment that this will be the toughest journey to a championship of his career. And we all know how his championships have come about. And then secondly, to what he said yesterday, going into what is a potential closeout opportunity for him, he is 38-10. He has the best record when it comes to closeout situations in the NBA postseason. He understands what it takes and how hard it is to get the job done. But his quote yesterday was that the Laker faithful do not give a damn about what you've done until you've done it for them. And so I think it just kind of brings it full circle to an understanding of what he's about, the grind, as you mentioned, Justin, and the work that he's put in. Until he wakes up and does not enjoy the game, or is it about the preparation that he puts in 365 days, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, year round, he is about winning and winning big, and that means titles. And he has another opportunity to do so and win. And if that happens for him, as Ohio, I know we all are still very proud of who he is and what he represents as one of our own from back there. So it'd certainly be special for him to get that job done, if it could, of course, happen either this season, if not tonight.
All right, Allie, tell everyone a little bit about the Road Trippin' podcast. I'm actually excited the fact that you were actually able to stay on board with that. It's a very popular podcast. Yourself, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson. It's very entertaining. And after you left the Cavs, I wasn't sure what the status of that would be. I'm glad that you guys all, kept it going. Tell everyone where they can find information on that.
I'm really excited that you asked about that, because just this morning we found out that the Road Trippin' podcast will be on the linear side. That is television on Fox Sports Ohio.
Nice.
Starting October 16th. So you can watch it in Ohio. You can watch it in LA, in New York City, in Portland, in Denver, on your local sports stations there. We are expanding when it comes to the television side, because Road Trippin' is not just audio anymore. It has now moved to the television side. And it has been a blast. It's something, as you mentioned, it started in Cleveland in 2017 and has continued throughout. I think we've really taken on our name, Road Trippin'. We're doing it weekly. It's a new guest. Our recent guest has been Stan Van Gundy, but the first one coming to Ohio on October 16th will be with the very own Cleveland Brown himself, Myles Garrett. So thanks for asking about that. We love it, and we love our fans. I think they're great. Our viewers, our listeners, they're wonderful. So hopefully they continue to enjoy.
All right. You could find her on Twitter at Real A Clifton, at Real A Clifton on Twitter. Allie Clifton, again, Lakers studio host, good enough to join us and hang out here this afternoon on the Justin Kinner Show. Allie, thanks so much for your time, and hopefully the Lakers get it done tonight.
Justin, thanks so much.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Ask for it at Advanced Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make $20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched? No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, Joey Beckett here at Buckeye Ford in Sydney, home of the Works package and the Double Take Tire specials. Call today for your appointment, 937-419-8473 or 1-800-700-0050. Buckeye Ford in Sydney, exit 92 off of I-75. We'll see you soon.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You know that sound when a crowd of fans suddenly goes quiet? This November, your vote is your voice. 39% of eligible voters did not vote in the last presidential election. This election is your chance to be heard and decide who represents you. Raise your voice, sports fans. Register to vote. National Vote Early Day is October 24th. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Find the high-impact hire your business needs fast on Indeed. No long-term contracts and lots of great candidates at Indeed.com/high-impact.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still doesn't stop. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of honey lemon. Not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks VapoCool Drops are honey lemon and honey lemon. Honey lemon. Yeah, honey lemon chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estou com fome. Eu não tomei café de manhã.
Je suis des États-Unis et du viens tu.
Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com to start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
At Boot Barn, we believe that the cowboy boot is an American icon. Today's boots are not only rooted in history, but are enhanced with modern technology features for the working cowboy. Ariat boots are built with advanced technology that provides the comfort and support of a high-performance athletic shoe, yet still has the functionality and durability of the iconic cowboy boot. And at Boot Barn, we carry over 250,000 pairs of Ariat boots nationwide. Ariat at Boot Barn.
You like your burger medium well, your peanut butter crunchy, and your mattress firm. It's the little things that make you, you. And you deserve a Medicare plan that fits your unique needs. That's why United Healthcare is offering more plan options than ever, so you can find just the right plan for you. Call 1-800-362-8715. That's 1-800-362-8715 to get Medicare with more. Remember, Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th.
Save big money and get 11% off everything at Menards. Keep your home's temperature comfortable through every season while saving energy with Honeywell thermostats. Menards has a great selection of programmable and Wi-Fi units to control with your phone or tablet. Save 11% on all Honeywell thermostats. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Prices are good until Saturday, October 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps for big screen football.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
My family struggled throughout a lot of my childhood, and it was assumed that, well, I would go to college, I would have to pay for it myself.
Charlie didn't know how to get the money she needed for college.
My mother worked in college administration, and she knew about federal student aid. When I received my acceptance letter, I ran into the house, waving the papers, yelling, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it.
Federal student aid made college and achieving her dreams possible for Charlie.
I don't think I quite realized what a huge deal actually graduating was. And that didn't hit home to me until commencement day. Federal student aid definitely made that happen.
Need help paying for college? Go to federalstudentaid.ed.gov, an office of the U.S. Department of Education. Start here, go further.
My name is Charlie, and this is my story.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Buckeye fans, the season is finally here. No, for real this time. ESPN 1410 Wing AM is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Join us for the season opener on Saturday, October 24th, when Ohio State welcomes in Nebraska. Every tackle, every touchdown, and every Buckeyes win. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Be listening every hour for the word that wins and enter it at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show live on ESPN 1410 Wing AM and streaming live at wingam.com. We're live on Facebook as well. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, and follow along. We'll get to more of your calls coming up here in just a moment, but I wanted to open up the 5 o'clock hour with going 3 and out with your Browns and Bengals.
Browns, Bengals, Justin Kinner and Kev Nash go 3 and out.
All right, we're going 3 and out with your Cleveland Browns and your Cincinnati Bengals. And again, yes, welcome back. Yes, we got backlogged there, David. I apologize about that. But going 3 and out with the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. 3 reasons that the Browns will win. 3 reasons that the Browns will lose. We'll open up with the Browns by going 3 and out. 3 reasons why the Cleveland Browns will win coming up on Sunday. Got to stay the course. Again, Kareem Hunt. He was the 2017 rushing champion back, when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. We've yet to see him be the featured back for a complete season since then. He was with the Chiefs the following week, the following year before being suspended for the domestic violence issue, which of course ultimately led to him being released by the Chiefs. The Browns picked him up. He served the 8-game suspension. But you saw just last week how valuable he is. You saw the second that Nick Chubb went out, the Browns didn't miss a beat. Kareem Hunt can be the horse that this team continues to ride moving forward. We're going to find out this week just how valuable Nick Chubb is, or we're going to find out how valuable Kareem Hunt is. We're going to find out one of those things, because if the Browns rushing attack takes a huge step backwards, okay, they take a huge step backwards, that's clearly going to show the dominance of Nick Chubb. But if they continue on going, man, that just shows you the depth that the Browns have at running back. Get OBJ involved early. The Browns will win again on Sunday coming up as long as they continue to do what's worked for them through the first month of the season. Get OBJ involved early in the game. Get him comfortable. What I do love about Kevin Stefanski is that he is not just looking at OBJ and saying, hey, you're a receiver. We're only going to use you as a receiver. He's a playmaker. He can make things happen. We saw that happen against Dallas. His confidence is building. As long as the Browns continue to build off of that, I think they will be just fine. And how about this? The Browns pass rush, again, they're Their defense, I'm not sold on their defense. I'm just not. But when you look at the way that Phillip Rivers has struggled this year, he has struggled when the pass rush is coming his way. He has a QBR about 64. That's good for 17th in the league. He has thrown 3 interceptions. He's top 10 in interceptions thrown this year. When you put pressure on him, he is not very accurate. Plus, he takes a lot of chances. He's going to be aggressive. The Browns could take advantage of that. The number 1 team in takeaways this season. That's something to keep in mind. Of course, as the Browns and Colts go head-to-head coming up on Sunday. I'm confident. In fact, let me pull this up, too, because I want to find out, did the line change? Did the line change as far as that's concerned? Because I know that the Browns were a 2.5-point dog. Then they were a 1-point dog. I'm curious if it moved at all. It's dead even. The line went from 2.5 to dead even. So that's an even line right now as far as the Browns and the Colts are concerned coming up on Sunday. 3 reasons why they'll win. Let's focus on 3 reasons why they will lose. My big question is what happens if the Colts take away the Browns' run game? Who are the Browns when a team physically just dominates them in regards to implementing their will? If the Colts come out and stop the Browns' running game, who are they? Is Baker Mayfield good enough? Are they versatile enough to be able to take what the defense gives them and alter the course and alter their attack? Because if they're going to continue to just hand the ball off and be swallowed up every time like what people are anticipating, they're going to have to find ways to adapt. They're going to have to take advantage of the play action more, roll Baker out to his left way more, which is what has led to a lot of wins. But if the run game is taken away, how are the Browns going to counter? How is Baker Mayfield going to respond? That's going to be key moving forward. Here's the other deal, too. If they do put Baker Mayfield in a situation where he is going to have to change the style of the offense, the Colts take away the run game, how is Baker going to handle running this offense? The Colts are the number 1 team in the NFL in interceptions. They have intercepted 7 different passes this year. That's good for number 1 in the NFL. They are very active. Their secondary is fast. They pursue the ball. This team, if you put Baker Mayfield in a situation where if the run game's taken away and he has to carry you offensively, that could get ugly. And those are my reasons why I believe that the Cleveland Browns could end up losing on Sunday. I'm sorry, I forgot my third reason. My third reason is no Nick Chubb. I think Kareem Hunt, he's one of my reasons why I believe that they are capable of winning on Sunday. I don't believe that they have a big drop-off as far as that's concerned, but I do believe that Nick Chubb is a special talent, and I think Kareem Hunt's special, and we're going to find out just how special both of them are. And Kareem Hunt has a lot to prove, but if he is not Nick Chubb on Sunday, that's going to be a problem for Cleveland. 3 and out with the Cleveland Browns. 3 reasons why they'll win, 3 reasons why they'll lose. We're live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search the Justin Kittle Show in the comments section. I want to hear from you. Your 3 reasons why the Browns will win. Your 3 reasons why the Browns will lose. Let's go 3 and out with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't see the Bengals having a snowball's chance in hell of winning this game coming up on Sunday against the Ravens. Now, to be clear, it's not because I'm a Bengals hater. It's just simply because the Ravens are that good and the Bengals just have way too many flaws. The Baltimore Ravens are a 13-point favorite against the Bengals coming up this Sunday, but I'm going to do my best. 3 and out with the Bengals. Here's 3 reasons, I guess, how the Bengals could beat the Ravens coming up on Sunday. The O-line has to protect Joe Burrow. Bottom line, if you protect Joe Burrow and you give him time to take advantage of the weapons, I love the chemistry that he is developing with T. Higgins. I mean, I think the reason that it's been easier to accept the fact that A.J. Green looks like old A.J. Green. He doesn't look like the A.J. Green of old. He looks like old A.J. Green. The reason it's been easier to accept that is because T. Higgins has stepped up and played at a high level, and I think that's why. I mean, I was so high on that draft pick right there. That was one of the biggest steals in the draft at that point because they got a legit number 1 receiver. I think when it's all said and done, T. Higgins will be the Bengals' new number 1 receiver when it's all said and done. If they can protect him, and again the relationship out on the field between Joe Burrow and T. Higgins continues to grow along with Tyler Boyd, that's going to be key. So offensive line, all right, the chemistry with the receivers continuing to build with Joe Burrow, that's going to be key. Third reason why I believe they have a shot to win, if they have any chance at winning at all, it's going to have to be literally everything has to fall into place perfectly. The line has to block. Joe Burrow has to be spot on with his receivers. He can't have a rookie game. If Joe Burrow has that rookie game, there's no chance the Bengals have a chance to win this. My third reason why they have a shot to win, Joe Mixon. I think last week we've been seeing the first 2 or 3 weeks where they were just trying to get Joe Burrow comfortable. And I think they forgot about the horse that they signed in the offseason, $12.5 million a year, one of the highest paid backs in the league in Joe Mixon. You signed him, you gave him that extension, use them. They're going to have to use a lot of Joe Mixon coming up this weekend against the Ravens. If you get a healthy balance of that offensive line blocking, don't see that happening. But if they block, and if he has a good, chemistry with his receivers, and Joe Mixon steps up like he did last week against the Jaguars, that's going to give the Bengals the best shot at least competing with the Ravens coming up this weekend. 3 and out. That was 3 reasons why I believe they have a shot to win. But here's what's most likely going to happen. 3 reasons why the Bengals are going to lose coming up on Sunday. They are a 13-point favorite. Look, the Ravens pass rush. They have 9 sacks on the season. They're a top 10 in pass rush on the year. They get to the quarterback. They pursue the ball. Luckily, Joe Burrow in that offense, he doesn't have a strong arm. He's not. The one knock against him is that they have not been able to take advantage of the deep ball, but that's not who he is right now. He's going to have to get the ball out of his hands quickly, but that's been the style of his offense all year, and he's still been getting hit hard. He is going to have to get rid of that ball quickly, but I don't anticipate that happening unless they get Joe Mixon involved. But that pass rush for the Ravens is too good, and that offensive line is too bad. It's too bad. I just don't see it happening. Bengals defense can't stop Lamar Jackson. That's reason number 2. Look, this defense is atrocious. It's a mess. And the reason I'm more disappointed in the defense than the offense is because the defense, you actually focused on that in the offseason. The Bengals spent a lot of money on that defense, and that's the best money can buy. That's the best $160 million can buy. That's not a good defense. Lamar Jackson's going to carve them up. So there you have it right there. I mean, look, the Bengals, the Ravens defensive pass rush attack, offensive line for the Bengals can't keep up. And then, of course, the offensive line for the Ravens. I mean, the Bengals have been horrible at getting to the quarterback. They're going to have to find a way to contain Lamar Jackson. I just don't see that happening as far as that's concerned. So, and the other thing is the Ravens are top 10 against the run. So even if Joe Burrow, if they try to limit the amount of times he drops back and they try to kind of control the tempo of the game by running, Joe Mixon's going to have a hard time. He's going to have a very hard time. The Ravens are top 10 in the league against the run. I just don't see a scenario where the Bengals find a way to get this done. Over under, do they, will they cover? I don't think so. Ravens win big, 13-point favorite. I think this one can get ugly on Sunday. Reaction on Facebook. David Shaw says another reason they go down the offensive line and everything will not go perfect. Of course, talking about the Bengals. Tyler Schrody says if the Bengals want to play aggressive, go for almost every reasonable 4th down, keep the Ravens off the field, especially that's where field, being in good field position is going to be huge for the Cincinnati Bengals. Going back to Ron, I'm assuming talking about the Browns situation here. One reason they lose Jonathan Taylor. Look, the Browns have not been good defensively. I know people are in awe about their ability to create turnovers, interceptions, forcing fumbles, all of that. But they have been dominated between the 20s. In fact, they do not. They're one of the worst teams in forcing their opponents to punt. Browns opponents don't punt much. The Browns have been bailed out a lot by their secondary, of course, creating big plays with interceptions and forcing fumbles. The pass rush for the Browns between the 20s, though, it's been brutal. And the Browns are going to have to find a way to contain the run game of Mac and, of course, Jonathan Taylor and the Colts coming up on Sunday. And that is our 3 and Outs with your Browns and your Bengals. Of course, go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, and you could, of course, leave your 3 and Out. 3 reasons why any team, your team, 3 reasons why your team will win, 3 reasons why your team will lose. Schrody, you know why your team ain't going to win this weekend? Because they're a bunch of morons. The Titans are a bunch of morons, Schrody. They ignored rules, and now they'll be lucky to kick off on Tuesday, which, by the way, the Titans got bailed out. They have to kick off on Tuesday. So as long as they play, I'm not pushing for the forfeiture. But all I was saying is that if the Titans game had to be moved to another week, if they had to be moved to another week, they should have forfeited. But if they get the game in, then fine. Shorty says they didn't do anything wrong. Yes, they did. That's what all that sports media has been talking about the last week is how the NFL should handle the Titans. Yesterday, the 29th, the article comes out that the Titans told their players on the 29th, do not practice, do not congregate, do not meet outside of the facility, wait until you are told what to do. You know what happened? Not even 24 hours later, on the 30th, Ryan Tannehill, your quarterback, your leader, your magnificent leader. He's calling local high schools in Nashville to set up practices. Then there's an outbreak. That goes back to them. That's all on them. That's self-inflicted. That's stupidity. That's selfishness. That's on the Tennessee Titans. And I promise you, think about this. People hate Baker Mayfield. If this was a Cleveland Browns situation, imagine had the Browns been in this scenario where the Browns organization tells the Browns players, don't practice. Don't meet outside of the facility. The facility's closed. Go home until we tell you what's next. And imagine if Baker Mayfield 24 hours later, less than that, is calling local schools in Cleveland so that his team can practice. And then that's why there's an outbreak, and that's why the NFL has to reschedule a bunch of games moving forward. The ripple effect, right? People would be eating Baker alive, calling him selfish, calling him every name in the book. But because it's no name, boring, Ryan Tannehill, I play for a team that no one cares about, everyone's just giving him a pass. Schrody says, do you honestly blame them, though? Blame them what? No, they told him the 30th. No, they told him the 29th. And by the way, and I'll be clear here too, Schrody, even if the players weren't told, but the organization knew and didn't tell them in time, it's still the organization's fault. The organization is still at fault as far as I'm concerned, because if the players did something that they weren't supposed to because communication was not given down to them from up top, that's still on the Titans. It's still the Titans' fault why there was another outbreak. It's still the Titans' fault why another game had to be pushed back. That's still on the Titans as far as that's concerned. Again, communicating with Schrody on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. You can interact with the show that way. The NFL put them in an impossible situation, saying, hey, you're going to play, but you can't practice. I would be okay with any team doing that. Well, I'm not okay with the team doing that. That leads to suspensions of games. Titans had no more bye weeks. All right. And if I'm Buffalo, I'm furious because we're rolling. I don't want to have the only reason we're not going to get to play now we have to play on a Tuesday, and then you have a short week now to prepare for the next week. Buffalo's getting punished here. Pittsburgh was mad the week before. Now, that wasn't Tennessee's fault. You're going to have outbreak. You're going to have positive tests when you play during a pandemic. But what you can't have during a pandemic is selfish decisions being made that lead to other teams being impacted by it. Like it's selfish. Like I know what you're saying about, well, what are they supposed to do? The NFL put them in a hard spot. I agree. And if the NFL put them in a hard spot and the Titans followed protocol, then the sports topics this week would have been, man, the NFL's full of crap. They're putting these teams in a tough spot. But now we've been talking about how the NFL told them what to do. They said, screw it, I'm going to do what I want anyways. Then it leads to this. That's the problem I have with all of that as far as that's concerned. So, that it is what it is. I don't know what punishment will come down. I don't know. They put out a press release. They've done all this stuff, a statement to the players about what's expected of them moving forward. How many slaps on the wrist are you going to get? We've seen it in other sports. We've seen it in baseball, how hard teams have come down on their players when they make selfish decisions during this time. And I said it yesterday. I don't care what your opinion is about COVID. Some people take it serious. Other people don't. That's not really what this is about. What this is about is there was a rule put in place. They chose to ignore it. Now you got to deal with the consequences, because when you choose to ignore a rule and your decision leads to other teams being impacted by it, that's a huge deal. That's a problem. And you should be dealt with properly, and you should be punished. So by the NFL not doing this, when I'm the next team that tests positive and they say, hey, don't practice, well, the Titans did it, and in fact, they got a couple extra days rest out of it. They got a slap on the wrist. We'll just do it too. So the NFL learned nothing from this. In fact, the NFL look bad in this too, because I don't know what they were expecting. I mean, there was no plan in place for any of this at all, which to me is a little alarming, considering the NFL wanted to put their chest out and act like the COVID ain't got nothing on us. And here we are every week dealing with multiple COVID positive tests, which anyone with a brain could have told you that was going to happen. And yet the NFL is just making up the rules as we go here. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's COVID. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they knew back in March when the NBA had to cancel their season, the NFL should have been coming up with every plan possible as to how they were going to handle a positive test. Not what they were going to do if there was a positive test, how they were going to handle the positive test, how they were going to handle rescheduling of games. They didn't even allow buffer weeks. There was no buffer weeks at all. There was no extra weekends. There was no extra week. The playoffs start the second that the regular season's open. They're over, I'm sorry. I mean, there was no leeway at all. The NFL's wrong. The Titans and Ryan Tannehill, I feel bad for you. You're embarrassing. You're an embarrassing organization. At least you were relevant for a week. Congratulations. Schrody, pick a new team. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show live here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Real quick, back to the Facebook. Ron Howard says, not fair. Team following protocol can't play because of stupid behavior of the other team. Does get game check. Ron, I don't know what the hell you're trying to say. Retype that. Maybe I'll be able to understand it. But as far as I'm concerned, Titans made a mistake. Tyler Shorty says, who cares if no one else tested positive right away? That's not how COVID works. People can test positive days after. The NFL got lucky with that. The NFL got lucky. It sounds like the Cincinnati Reds during the season. They were bad luck. They had bad luck. So you're saying the NFL's like the Cincinnati Reds. They have bad luck. Kev Nash, what's up? He says the NBA better than the NFL. NBA wraps up tonight. We just had Allie Clifton on a little bit ago. Again, Lakers, studio host. We talked about that as well. I can't believe that season's going to be wrapping up. But how about the NBA? No positive tests. No positive tests at all. Good for them. They hit a home run. It's basketball. Home run's baseball. But they hit a home run. As far as that's concerned. Ron, before I get out of here, though, I do got to point out your team. What happened to your team last night? You lost to a bad Bears team. Now, Bears are 3-1 or 4-1, whatever the hell they are. But let's be clear. I don't care what your record is. Any team that's making a quarterback change in the middle of the year from their original starting quarterback to Nick Foles. Nick Foles might be okay. He did a good job last night. But my goodness, how does Tom Brady not know what down it is? I mean, come on, Ron. You're all about. It was a bad night for you. You're a Tampa fan. Your Rays lost. Your Buccaneers lost. Come on, Ron. If Baker Mayfield didn't know what down it was, you'd be eating him alive. But your man Tom Brady, huh? Ooh, that's embarrassing. David Shaw says in a bubble. Exactly. That's why the NBA is better than the NFL, because they're smarter. They figured it out. They found a way to get it done, and not just like they didn't have hiccups. There was no hiccups. 0 positive tests. Like, it literally could not have gone any better if you're the NBA. And the Lakers are about to win an NBA championship. Ryan Tannehill is better than Baker. He is not. He's not. And by the end of the year, that won't even be you won't even be close to right by the end of the year on that. Ryan Tannehill is not better than Baker. And the Titans were dumb for giving him that money. David Shaw says, how are you going to put the NFL in a bubble? There's been plenty of discussions all week of how they were going to put the NFL in a bubble. There was plenty of opportunities to do it. They didn't even try to consider it. And by the way, if you found a way, they found a way to put baseball in a bubble. And it's not even a set bubble. We're just talking about isolated areas with a controlled environment. Sure, there's still opportunity and there's for the virus to spread. Sure, there's a risk there. But I tell you what, I would rather have a controlled environment where you still at least are trying to control the environment versus just saying, all right, everyone, have a good night. See you tomorrow. And everyone goes home to their kids and everyone goes home to their family and everyone goes out to restaurants. Yeah. Anything is better than the stupid approach that football had. I want football to continue, but if it doesn't, they have no one to blame but themselves. Ron Howard says, bad calls all game. You watched, got homered. No. Bad calls in every game, Ron. I've told you before, you ain't going to get by with it. Talking about last night's Buccaneers game. Let's be clear. I will never use officials as a reason for why a team loses. Buckeye fans hated me for that last year because as pissed as I was about the Buckeyes losing in the Fiesta Bowl, let's be clear, the officials didn't let Trevor Lawrence run for 100 yards on you. The officials didn't allow the defense to give up 21 straight points. The officials did not lose the Buckeyes the game last year. I never let teams and I never let fans tell me that officiating is what cost the team a game. Last night, your veteran quarterback, the best of all time, Ron, didn't know what down it was. I'm not putting that on the officials. That wasn't on the officials. All right, keep it up. Go to Facebook. Search The Justin Kinner Show. Take your reactions next. Don't go anywhere. More of The Justin Kinner Show when we come back.
It's The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mainly clear with a high near 84. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low around 62. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle, your local authorized Hustler mower dealer. Stop in today and see the Hustler Fast Track, the Hustler X1, and the Hustler Super Z.
To make sure the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering $1,350 in rebates plus payments as low as $132 a month on a new Lennox system. Call 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
When I say Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course, what do you think of? It should be Windy Knoll Golf Club in Springfield. What used to be a world-class horse farm is now a stunning link-style golf course, complete with full-size steel horse sculptures and black rail fencing all around the course. And it's open to the public. Windy Knoll offers a challenge to golfers of all levels. Outstanding course conditions add to a truly exceptional golf experience. Get your friends together and come out and play at Windy Knoll Golf Club in Springfield.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
I tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game